The bone would have remained, of course, if I took it. And the dog would have remained, it would come to bite me. I don't think I would remain. I think nothing should remain.
Wrong.
The dog's temper would remain.
I don't see.
She doesn't see.
Well, the dog would lose his temper, wouldn't he?
I suppose so.
Then if he went away, his temper would remain. Wouldn't it?
She can't do sums a bit.
I can so if they're proper sums.
Recite you are old, Father William.
I don't know that one, but I can recite part of the walrus and
Repeat it after me. You are old, Father William, the young man said, and the hair which is left you is gray. Yet you are strong, Father William, a hearty old man. Now tell me the reason I pray.
I think I can remember that.
Don't interrupt.
In the days of my youth, Father William replied, I remembered that youth would fly fast, and abuse not my health and my vigor at first, that I never might need them at last. Now, repeat the whole.
I believe I can. You are old, Father William, the young man said, and your hair has become very white. And yet you incessantly stand on your head. Do you think at your age that is right? Some of the words have got altered.
Try the second stanza.
In my youth, Father William replied to his son, I feared it might injure the brain. But now that I'm perfectly sure I have none, I do it again and again.
That's not said right.
Not quite right, I'm afraid.
It's wrong from beginning to end.
How tall did you say you were?
I'm 4 feet and...
Wrong. She never said a word like that. Tisk, tisk, tisk.
I thought you meant, how tall are you?
If I meant that, I would have said that there's glory for you.
There's glory.
I don't see what you mean by glory.
I mean, there's a nice knockdown argument for you.
But glory doesn't mean a nice knockdown argument.
When I use a word, I choose just what I mean it to. Neither more, nor the less.
The question is whether you can make a word mean so many different things.
The question is, which is it you mastered? You or your words? That's all. That's all.
Well, anyway, I don't believe.
She doesn't believe.
I'll give you something to believe. I'm just 101 years old, 5 months and a day.
I can't believe that.
Try again. Draw a long breath and shut your eyes.
It's no use. I can't believe impossible things.
She can't believe.
I dare say she hasn't had much practice. When I was her age, I always did it for half an hour each day. Sometimes I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast.
Did you say you could play croquet?
Well, I used to be very good at it.
Let's see you hit the stick.
I give you 3 strokes. Hit or off with your head.
I don't see any stake.
There.
Play.
I wish you would not keep looking at me.
Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle!
Miss.
Climb.
She jumped up.
On with the game.
Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle!
Miss.
Wasn't a bit fair.
On with the game.
Twinkle, 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 twinkle!
Miss.
The king will pardon you as soon as she's out of sight. He always does. What was it that you said? It was of no consequence, Your Majesty. No consequence at all. Where are the tarts? Tarts? He stole my tarts! Open his head! Open his head! Executioner! Open his head!
No, Your Majesty.
Silence!
It was a knave, Your Majesty.
Who are you? Who are you?
You can't take off his head till he's had a fair trial.
Who said so?
I say so.
The trial's beginning!
The
same garden we were in when we started to run. You'd have to run at least twice as fast to get anywhere else. Takes everything you've got to keep the clock from turning back.
How strange.
It happens every day. Only you don't notice it.
Oh, they're going to be late. Come and help them along.
If you please, I'd like to rest a little. It seems like the trial really has come here. I see seats for the judges, and these must be boxes for the jury. Only, there seems to be a great many more of them here. Other than that, everything is just as it was. I declare, I think it's too bad to have to run like that, just to stay where you are.
So I have to go backwards now.
Do you think Phineas really stole the car?
What's your opinion?
I haven't any opinion yet, because I'm not sure it was the Queen's daughter I saw someone else eat. It would be easier to have an opinion if I knew what I was talking about.
You're wrong about that. The less you know, the faster you get opinions.
Well, anyway, the Queen has a clean right to say, off with his head like that without having a fair trial. Suppose the knave didn't do it.
That would be all the better, wouldn't it?
Of course it would be all the better if the knave hadn't done it, but it wouldn't be all the better if he's being punished.
You're wrong about that. Weren't you ever punished?
Yes, but only when I'd done what I shouldn't.
And you were all the better for it, I know.
Yes, but then I had done the thing I was being punished for.
And if you hadn't done it, it would have been all the better still, wouldn't it?
I suppose so. Just the same, if they punished the poor knave without making sure it wasn't the cook, I can't stand it.
When a thing happens, you stand it whether you can or you can't.
Then I won't let it happen. Then I won't.
Oh, my whiskers! Here they come!
Oh, dear.
You're all late. Off with your heads.
You were late yourself, Your Majesty.
We don't mention that.
What are you writing?
Our names, for fear we don't forget them before the trial's over.
Order in the court!
Harold, read the accusation.
The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts on a summer...
Call the first witness.
The cook!
Were you in the kitchen when the Queen made the tarts?
I was.
You saw her make the tarts?
I oversaw her, Your Majesty.
Was there anyone else in the kitchen?
Yes.
Woman or man?
Man.
Describe his costume.
Can't. Didn't see him. That's because she didn't look where he was, Your Majesty.
Where was he?
He was hiding. Behind floorboards or under doors or in flower barrels or things.
Then how did you know he was there?
Heard him.
What did you hear?
He sneezed.
Try the prisoner with the pepper. The prisoner was in the kitchen. Write it down.
If that's not proven, Your Majesty, you should try the other men too.
Quiet!
It's not fair.
Order in the court!
The cook may stand down.
Stand! Off with her head! I can't go any lower. I'm on the floor as is.
Then you may stand aside. Call the prisoner.
The Knave of Hearts. Smile in the presence of your king. I said smile, not smirkle. Method is in my circle.
That's the proper style. Jurors, listen closely. I'm about to make a social test. Prisoner, do you know how tarts are made?
I can answer that. You take some flour.
Where do you pick the flour? In the garden or the window boxes?
It's ground.
How many acres of ground? You mustn't leave out so many things.
Flour for tarts isn't measured in acres, it's measured in cups. Or quarts or barrels. The cook is filling it wrong.
It's of no consequence. It's plain he knows how to make tarts. This proves he was hiding under tables or in flour barrels or something of the sort, watching the Queen enter cooking. Write it down.
It proves nothing of the sort. Well, anyway, I don't think it does.
You. Who are you?
Hold that evidence!
Have you fresh evidence?
No, I thought I saw an elephant playing on a fife. I looked again and saw it was a letter from my wife. At length I realized, O king, the bitterness of life.
That's the most important bit of evidence we've had yet. It practically proves the prisoner is guilty. Let the jury consider it carefully.
If any of them can explain it, I'll give them a sixpence. I don't believe there's an atom of meaning in it.
If there's no meaning in it, that saves us a world of trouble, you know, as we need to try to find any.
But then you can't call it evidence against the poor knave.
It's very provoking to be told what we can call a thing evidence we wish to call evidence. I call anything evidence I wish to do. Impenetrability. That's what I say.
Impenetrability.
Will you please tell me what impenetrability means?
By impenetrability, I meant just now we've had enough of that subject and
Spoke with me.
Did he show any signs of having eaten tarts?
He's eaten a great many.
How did you know?
He paid me compliments.
I deny that.
got the identical spot where you stopped me from singing a ditty, where you said I was plain and excessively vain, but I knew that you meant I was pretty.
I didn't know I meant that.
He's too afraid of being found out to know what he means.
I fear he ate the tarts. I fear he ate them all. Write it down.
Stuff and nonsense. What sort of evidence is that? Rub it out.
Your Majesty, you must cross-examine the ditty sung by the cock.
Call the ditty.
The ditty. There was a pig who sat alone beside a ruined pond. By day and night he made his moan. It would have turned a heart to stone to see him bring his hoofs and ground because he could not jump. Up rose that pig and jumped the rock against that ruined pond. He first saw red and then saw black and rolled right over on his back. His snout caved in, his bones were cracked. It was a fatal jump.
And the prisoner spoke about the ditty when you had finished?
At the top of his voice.
And he didn't know what he meant. That looks very bad. Evidence!
I thought I saw a rattlesnake that questioned me in Greek. I looked again and saw it was the middle of next week. The one thing I regret, O king, is that it cannot speak.
The middle of next week?
Guilty!
Yeah, guilty. He is guilty.
We are ready with the verdict. Shall we say it or sing it?
You couldn't possibly be ready to give it yet.
Sing it!
I'll tell thee everything I can, there's little to relate. I saw an aged man a-sitting on a gate. Who are you, aged man? I said, and how is it you live? His answer trickled through my head like water through a sieve. And now if here by chance I put my fingers into glue, or madly squeeze a right-hand foot into a left-hand shoe, or if I drop upon my toe a very heavy weight, I weep for it reminds me so of that old man I used to know that summer evening long ago, a-sitting on a gate.
You certainly can't call that a verdict.
I can, and I do.
It's just nonsense.
You may call it nonsense if you like, but I've heard nonsense compared to which that is as sensible as a dictionary.
The question is a dictionary ever sensible?
Consider the verdict.
There's nothing in that song to consider.
The verdict isn't ready yet. That must be whispered.
Oh, verdict is, do you call that a whisper? If you do such a thing again, I shall have you buttered. Silence. Rule 42. Any child who laughs out loud must leave the court.
That isn't a regular rule. You invented it just now.
Is the oldest rule in the book?
Then it ought to be number one.
Unlike the execution.
Not yet. The idea of having execution first. You haven't even had a sensible trial yet.
First the execution, then the verdict, then the trial.
Nothing of the sort.
Anyway, we have had a trial.
You haven't called all the witnesses. I have some evidence to give.
Your Majesty, here's something that was picked in the garden. A scroll.
What's in it?
It seems to be a letter written by the prisoner.
Who is it directed to?
It isn't directed at all. That's the strange part.
Is it in the prisoner's handwriting?
No, it isn't. And that's the queerest thing about it.
He must have imitated someone else's hand.
It isn't mine! I couldn't write that if I tried! My name's not signed at the end! There's no name signed at the end.
If you didn't sign your name, that only makes matters worse. You must have meant some mischief, or you would have signed your name like an honest man.
That proves his guilt!
It proves nothing of the sort.
Harold, read it.
Well, it's not a letter at all. It's a set of verses.
He's disguised his handwriting.
It's a secret code! It isn't mine! I couldn't write that if I tried.
Don't try to pull the wool over my eyes. You've written it so nobody but yourself can read it. Very well, read it yourself then. Begin at the beginning and go until you've come to the very end.
I can't read it.
Can anyone else read this scroll? No? Then explain he wrote it so nobody but himself could. There's no telling what's in it. This is terrible.
You don't know whether it's terrible until you know what it says. Anyway, nobody knows the knave wrote it.
Read it for yourself if he didn't write it. Either he wrote it for himself alone or someone else can read it.
Isn't that true?
It sounds true, but there's something wrong about it.
Read it yourself then! Suppress that dormouse. Off with her whiskers.
It seems I've seen writing like this somewhere before. If I could remember where I stood and what I was doing. Yes, I was combing my hair in front of the looking glass. It's looking glass writing. All you have to do is read it backward. The title is
Jabberwocky.
If she's so sure of that, let her read it, Your Majesty. Let her read without a stop.
I give you 182 seconds.
Jabberwocky. 'Twas brillig and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. On whimsy were the bora groves, and the mome raths outbrave. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the claws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jub bird and shun, the brimless bandersnatch. He took the vorpal sword in hand, long time the man's own throat he sought. So rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uppish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whirling through the tumbly wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through. The vorpal blade was thick as snack, he left it dead, and with his head he went galumphing back. And how soon the Jabberwock come to my arms, my beamish boy, oh proud to say, Carucula, he chortled in his joy.
182!
Say,
How do we know that that's what it says?
just turn it around and see for yourself. There.
Hold your tongue! Off with her head!
Off with her head!
Oh, who cares for you? Doesn't amount to anything at all. You're nothing but a pack of cards.
She doesn't feel good for nothing anymore. No how, contrary why, no how, contrary why.
The sky. My kitten.